Well, I was really proud of our team, the way they competed in the game today. They really did everything we asked them to do. We asked guys to go out and dominate their box and win the one-on-one battles and matchups and, go do your job, be disciplined to execute and do what you need to do. And, we didn't play perfectly, but I thought it was really important that we could control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and did a really good job of that in terms of being able to run it, keep the ball away from their offense, because they have some very explosive players, and did a good job up front on defense and stopping their running game. And they did hit a few big play passes on us. In the first half, they quick snapped us a couple times, and they were kind of messing with the substitutions, and we were getting in late and not getting lined up, and they hit a couple big plays on us. But, other than that, it was really a well-played game by our team. It was a great atmosphere out there. I mean, our fans were fantastic, in this game, and I think it really helped our players. I think it affected the game to some degree, and it was a huge advantage for us. So I can't say enough about, Derrick Henry. Nobody feels worse about the fumble at the end. They were really ripping at the ball. That gave them a score, but it was a great drive to take the clock in the game at the end of the game when we got the ball on like the 8-yard line or 6-yard line or whatever it was, and took the whole, went down the field and even overcame a holding penalty. So I thought our offense did a fantastic job of, running the football and throwing it just enough to keep them off balance. And, Jake did a good job, and just really pleased with the offensive line, and really a great team win. Special teams were really good today too. The field position on some of the kickoff coverage was really, really good, which I think when you play an offensive team like that really affects them. They have a really good team. They have some really good players. They're really well coached, and I'm just really proud of our team for what they were able to accomplish out there on the field today. So, it's a great team win. Great team win. Great for our players. They worked hard to earn this opportunity to play in games like this, so it's great that they were able to take advantage of it, and I'm happy for each and every one of them.
Back to start. Matt.
Nick, just in terms of Derrick, to follow up on what you said about not being able to say enough about him, right here. Just how special of a night was this for him? Derrick's had some special games here, but how special do you feel like this one was with this performance?
Well, I really don't know what you're asking me, I guess we could have good, better, and best, or special, specialist, specialer, or these special. I don't know. The guy's having a great year. He had a great game today. Couldn't happen at a better time against a very good defensive team. And but I think he'd be the first one to tell you that the offensive line did a good job today, and I think it was, the whole offensive team being well prepared for what they did and going out there and blocking their fronts, and he did a great job of carrying the ball. So it was special.
Right front with Ben.
How consistent do you feel like your defense was in defending the run and kind of keeping Fournette bottled up all night?
Very good. The last run that, when we fumbled the ball and Leonard ran down to the 5-yard line, we didn't read run pass in the secondary, so we had no run support when the ball bounced outside, and we were really in a good defense for it. So, but, I was really, really pleased with, I always get a really good feel in a game when they run that first, zone extra. You don't know what that is, and they don't get anything, with the nose flat heads the center, and 5 technique knocks the guy back, and a linebacker fills, and and that's their bread and butter. So to be able to control that with our front 7 was really, really good, and those guys did a great job. Secondary support was good for the most part. Like I said, a couple big plays that we gave up. We certainly don't want to do that. But as the game changed, we changed a little bit with it. Especially the way they were substituting, so our players could get lined up and get to calls faster and have a better chance to execute.
Back left with Michael.
Just with Jake tonight, how do you think he performed just in managing things and not, making any turnovers, not making any mistakes?
Well, I mean, he did what we asked him to do. I think if he could have a throwback, it would have been the little out route to Calvin Ridley that he threw a little bit behind him that we had to settle for a field goal in the first half. But, other than that, he made some really clutch third down plays, and, we got to do a better job and eliminate some of these sacks and negative plays that we get, but that's not all his fault. But I thought he played really, really well today. And, he did a good job for what we needed to do in this game.
With the right side.
Coach, obviously it was a great game, especially for the defense and the offense too. And I would say the one explosive play that LSU had was the 40-yard touchdown where the receiver was single covered, and you talk about how you wanted to make sure you could bottle up their run and were successful at that. Is it generally your philosophy, and was that on display here, where you want to see what the other team can do best and try to take it away? And if they make a terrific play and a different thing, you'll live with that to some extent?
Well, we'd rather not have to live with it. We want to execute better. We run a corner cat, so that was a safety covering our best receiver. They also motioned over there, and we sort of busted the coverage and didn't go back to 3 deep. There should have been a middle-of-the-field safety. The guy ran a post, so there should have been somebody to help him, and there wasn't. So we didn't make a lot of mistakes, but that was one. And they took advantage of it, and it was a great play, good throw by their quarterback, and a great catch by, their receiver. So you got to give them some credit. But we didn't execute very well on that down. And, we played single coverage a lot to have good run support, and the corners did a good job for the most part.
Back middle. Alex.
Nick, can you explain the thought process of the 55-yard attempt right before half? No, the punting unit was out first, and then you call a timeout. Just
I really can't hear you. Well,
can you explain the 55-yard field goal attempt at the end of the first half? I know the punting unit went out first, and you called timeout.
Well, there was 21 seconds to go, and I first didn't want to, Adams' range is usually 35-yard line. It was 38, but there was a little wind helping them. At first, I didn't want to give them the ball if we missed it, there. They complete one pass, and then they got a chance to kick a field goal. But I looked at Adam, and I said, what do you think? He said, I think I can hit it. He got a little wind behind him, and he hit it good. And he makes those kind of kicks a lot. So he really did a nice job today. He did a great job on kickoff. That was a big kick. And he made all his kicks today. So we're really pleased and happy with the job that he did.
Go with Andy in the middle.
You had mentioned after the Ole Miss game that they came out a little too emotional and it got them out of sorts. How good have they been at being more businesslike and even keel coming into games since that point?
Well, I put a lot of emphasis on that this week, that guys focus on preparing to do their job and, do it in terms of your execution on the field. Play every play, one play at a time, like it has a history of life its own, and do it for 60 minutes in the game. Some of the basic fundamental things, and not get involved in the hoopla of the game and the emotion of the game to where you go out there and you don't execute and you don't play with discipline and you don't do your job very well. And those things lead to negative plays, and bad things usually happen. So I thought our players did a great job of that playing on the road, and I thought they did a great job of that playing here today.
Up front here with Mark.
Just in terms of momentum, how big was Dylan Lee's interception, considering the fact that Harris hadn't thrown one all year?
Well, I think anytime you go out and the other team's got the ball and you're starting out the second half, the last thing you say to them at halftime is they get the ball first, and, we need to go out there and reestablish the tempo of the game and get a stop. Well, better than a stop is getting a turnover. And I think that was a heck of a play by Dylan Lee. And it was huge in the game. Maybe the turning point in the game in terms of, us, when the game is 13-10, we go down and score, and makes it 20-10, so it changes the game a little bit.
We're on the left with George.
Nick, the SEC West race opened wide for you guys today when Arkansas beat Ole Miss. Can you assess where you think your team is now in terms of being ready to capitalize down the stretch?
Well, I think we got to play one game at a time. Mississippi State has a really good team. I think the goal every week is to go 1-0. I mean, it's as simple as that, and you can't think beyond that. I think that, every team that we play in the SEC West could beat us if we don't play well. And, I think our players understand that. So to prepare properly, in practice and get ready for the game so you can go on the road, it's a tough place to play over there. Their quarterback's a great player. So it's going to be a real challenge for us. And I always have liked the grit of this team. I've always liked the way this team competes. We don't always execute right, and people can criticize the penalties and negative plays that we have sometimes, but ability to overcome adversity has not been an issue with this group so far. So hopefully we can continue to persevere.
Two more folks, Dwayne and then Dennis.
Yes, Coach. Over here, Coach. Right here. We had talked. I asked you about Kenyan Drake. You said it would be welcomed if he had a productive game. How nice was it to see him make plays?
He did have a very good game today, and he ran the ball effectively. He caught some passes. Did a really nice job, and we need that. I mean, Derek carrying the ball 38 times. We got to get somebody else, that can carry the ball. Kenyan carried it some. Bo Scarborough's starting to figure out what he's supposed to do and how he's supposed to do it and why it's important to do it that way. And, Damian Harris has played some, so we're probably going to need to get something out of those guys, too, down the stretch.
Last one over here with Dennis.
Nick, how different, better is this team than the one that lost to Ole Miss?
I don't think it's any different. We got the same players that we had before. I think the maturity of the team, the lessons learned from the experience that they had in that game probably, helped them mature, helped them fix some of the things that needed fixing, got them to understand what it takes to, go out there and execute with consistency and how important that is and how important it is to pay attention to detail and do the little things correctly. And I think that's why we've improved as a team, because we've done that better in some of the games that we've had. And, sometimes the best time to teach, and I hate to say this, is when things don't go well. Don't ask me why, but people seem to respond a lot better when things don't go well than they do when things are going well. So, that game taught this team a lot in terms of what they needed to do to develop the kind of consistency and performance that we needed to have to be a good team.
Thanks, Coach.